Hello everybody, this is Jamie. I'm just decided to do a video of about half my manga collection. It was kind of inspired by Wallace Ryan and Comics Positive about, people kind of taking videos or pictures of their collection. I'll go over, I'll kind of go over each series if it needs a little bit of a detail, if it's a bit lesser known. But for the most, and there's some things I haven't read here too, so there won't be too much detail on that. And one other thing too is, there's some series I do have, or that I've watched, and I'll kind of go if I've watched the manga or read it. And there's some things, sometimes I can have a bit of anxiety when it comes to reading things. So there's certain things I haven't read because I think it just takes me a bit to build up to read things. But without further ado, let's get started. So first things first, I think it goes without saying, is One Piece. So you'll see here, I've got all the box sets. Of all the manga I've read, I mean, I've only been reading One Piece for about 2 years. It's probably one I wish I could give to my younger version of myself, just because it's got such a great story for pretty much all age groups, and it's something that if I'd owned it as a younger person, I probably would read it over and over, especially certain arcs. It's really well done. I think Oda's going to his I just finished up the Yamato series, or the Wano series, so it's kind of coming into its last core. Kind of on the first shelf here, we got Shaman King. I'm just collecting the 3-in-1s. This is a series I haven't read. I'm probably going to wait till it's all collected. I know it came out in singles, and it's nice that Kodansha's doing the 3-in-1s and how the covers all line up. Here's One Piece, kind of the non-box ones, and then some other singles that are out, probably because my sons are reading them and left them on the shelf. Again, oh, there's Kobe, a little statue of him, and then Ace's 2 novels. Next is Dr. Stone, though that series is actually for my son. He enjoyed reading, watching the anime, so I collected this series for him and kind of for myself to read at a later date. Next we have Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible. There's going to be a lot of rom-coms on here, teenage ones. Those are kind of my favorite series. This one's pretty cute because it's about a super shy guy that's almost invisible, and Kubo is one of the very few people that always notices him and tries to get him out of his shell. It's a really nice, lighthearted one. I'd recommend reading the Viz app if just to kind of get a feel of it. Next is Mashal and Mushal. This is a Viz one that I haven't really read at all, so we'll move on. Next is Sakamoto Days. I love this little series. It's pretty fun, just about the retired hitman running a store. I have volume 3 as well, but it's in my reading stack. Next is Fly Me to the Moon, which I've read as scans. I've read all of these, and I would actually say around volume 13, it's getting a bit laggy. It's just about 2 people. It's kind of a reverse rom-com because the couple at the start get married. They know each other from the heroine saving the younger guy at the start, and they get married without really knowing each other. So it's instead of them trying to get together, they're already together, and it's them figuring out life as a married couple. So it's cute, but I won't lie to you, it really gets kind of bogged down probably where it is right now in the series, and there's actually a big reveal probably a few more chapters in. I've read these as scans, and I've just been collecting the series because if I read a scan, I usually will always buy the series. Next is Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. This is a really popular fantasy title. I would definitely say this has probably been one of the best series that's come out in the last year. Don't really think it needs much of a description as everybody really, really likes it. Next is Mao by Takahashi, or Rumiko Takahashi. I've read the first volume, and I'm a huge Takahashi fan. But with her series, this one's pretty interesting. It reminds me a little bit more of Inuyasha for the series about going back in between worlds. You'll notice I think I'm missing volume 6. I have no idea where it is. And next is The Elusive Samurai. I've read volume 1. It's pretty neat. It's about a young samurai whose kingdom kind of gets torn apart, and he's building up to get kind of revenge on his thing. And again, Yashimi, that is a spin-off of Takahashi's Inuyasha about the kids of Inuyasha and Sesshomaru. Namar Inciting. It's not done by Takahashi, and I don't know if I'm going to collect this series. I just bought volume 1 to see, and it'll be on the fence. And next down here, this is kind of the Yen Press Shelf, Laid Back Camp. Love this series. I'm a big camper, so I can really relate to the stories, and it's a really wholesome slice of life. It gets me in a camping mood. I usually try and read or watch it every summer just before I go camping to get back into it. Next is My Youth Romantic Comedy, or Teenage Snafu as it's known. Love the anime of this in the series. I really like Hachiman and kind of his a bit of his depressed look on life, and it's another kind of teenage rom-com. It's a little different. It's basically the main character is a bit of a loner, a terrible attitude, and he kind of as a punishment has to start a club where he and another girl who's not as much of a loner but just like very prim and proper, they start a club where they have to help people out, and their first person they help out is as Yui Yamagama, and it's a bit of a love triangle, but it's a great series. It's pretty unique. Next is Horimiya. This was a really popular series that came out a year ago, and it's an anime. I haven't read all of it. I've probably read up the first 2/3, mainly as scans at the start, and then I just watched the anime to kind of continue it. Next is Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. I love the anime and bought this series. It's a 4-panel, which is pretty good, but I think I wished it was more of a regular title. I love it how it's about a pretty dense shoujo artist and a girl in his class that wants to confess to him, and he's pretty but instead he gets her as an anchor because there's a misunderstanding as she doesn't realize he is a shoujo mangaka, and it's pretty cute. It's very funny. It's a good series. Next I have Mariko-chan. That is about a teenage girl who can see ghoulish spirits. My friend Devin really recommended it. I've only read volume 1 because volume 2 for a long time was hard to acquire, so I've been a bit stalled on it. Next series is one of my favorites, Teasing Master Takagi-san. It's a cute little high school slice of life, kind of a romance about, Takagi, who teases our poor hero Nishikata every day in class, and Nishikata's always trying to beat her, to tease her to get back at her. I love the setting of the series, how it takes place in a small little island town. It's actually based on Yamamoto's own town, and I like this setting, how it reminds me of growing up back home. And it's one of my favorite series. I really wish that they would release as well the formerly Teasing Master Takagi-san as well. That's when the two mains are actually grown up with their own child named Chi. Next is Girl I Saved on the Train. That's just the first one. It's just a, kind of a normal rom-com. It's pretty good. I'll probably continue the series. Next you have Toilet Bound Hanako. Again, like Dr. Stone. I bought this series more for my son because he was reading it. So I just decided to collect it for, it's kind of his series, not really mine. It's just on the shelf down here as he was running out of space upstairs. And then next is Hinamatsuri. This is a fantastic series. It's basically about a low-level yakuza. And one day, a young girl gets transported right into his apartment from the future who has psionic powers. And it's everything goes from there. It's very funny. I've had so many laugh out loud moments. It also has a lot of heartfelt moments, and there's only 2 volumes left in the series that have to come out, but I would highly recommend this one. It's really underrated, but I can't think of anybody that wouldn't enjoy a lot of the aspects of it. The next one's just Castle in the Sky. That's just it's a Ghibli film. It's my favorite one after Whisper of the Heart. I just bought those. They're just it's mainly just clips or panels are kind of right from the animated movie. I bought it as part of it, just as when there was a big sale. Next is H.P. Lovecraft's The Mountain of Madness. I have not read this. I like H.P. Lovecraft, and I've read the actual story. Just kind of put off because it takes a lot for me to kind of read a bit of horror sometimes, so I've put that one off. And then next we have the Cells at Work box set. I read this over the summer, very much liked it. I've always kind of pictured like my cells inside my body fighting off viruses, so this was a great series. It gets bogged down a little bit into technical terms, which isn't great, but still a great series. And just after that is Code Black. so I'll probably get the rest of Code Black as I really enjoyed Volume 1. And again, the same son, he wants to get the baby version as well, so I'll probably get that too. Next one I have is Correspondence at the End of the Universe. Actually, this just came out a week ago. It's just about a guy. It's kind of like Northern Exposure, where a guy who's just finished his school gets sent to the other side of the universe and has to kind of work. You know, he has to do 10 years of service because all the planets are kind of aligned to it, and he wants to get back home, even though they're creating planets where they are. It's kind of an interesting job, but he left his lover back home and, you know, just wants to get back home. It's a very fish out of water story. Next is Die Dark by Q. I haven't read this yet. I'm currently reading Dohei Dodoro. So I'll probably, once I finish that, I'll start this. Next is the Daily Report of My Witch Senpai. This is a cute little thing. It's just 2 volumes, which is nice. It's just about a little office romance. Just the female lead happens to also be a witch. It's really sweet. Originally it was just supposed to be 2 shots, but the author's actually writing more now. I don't know if there'll be any more volumes. There might be. The next one is The Duke of Death and His Maid. I love this series. So this was something I've always get recommended to read, but I kept starting and stopping because wasn't a huge fan. But when the anime came out, I watched it and absolutely loved it. I mean, despite the CGIs that a lot of people don't enjoy. It's basically about a duke who's cursed that if he touches anything, that it dies, anything living. And then his maid who lives with him, who's always flirty with him and stuff. And the premise is about him trying to, you know, figure out the cause of his curse. It starts off very one note, but as the series progresses, it becomes a much bigger world and it's much more fun. Next is No Matter What You Say, Fury Saying It's Scary. It's another little cute rom-com. Same kind of with Hitomi Saying Try with Strangers. And Skip and Loafer. I guess those 3 are all very similar. The first one's more about a scary delinquent-looking girl, and her name and the boy that sits beside her. Hitomi Chan's kind of in a similar thing. And Sakura, and I don't know. I just love little rom-coms. And speaking of really great ones, the next one's Skip and Loafer. This one's fantastic. It's almost like a reverse Silver Spoon, where it's a country girl moving to the city to go to school. And what I enjoy the most about it is it very much breaks a lot of typical rom-com teenage tropes. The characters are really well developed. You love where the story goes. It's really interesting. It's you know, one of the better things I've read in the last year, and I'm happy that a lot of people I know are reading it more. Next is Tomo-chan as a Girl. This one is about a tomboy who wants, who's kind of in love with, who's been in love with her friend forever. Now that she's in high school, confesses to him, and he only sees her as a guy. So it's her figuring out ways to kind of win him over. It's a 4-panel strip. It's great. On anime is coming out, I think, January of next year in 2023. I really enjoyed it. It's really funny. Next is Young Ladies Don't Play Fighting Games. This was pretty good, I think. I've only read volume 1 so far. It's just about a girls' dormitory and they're not supposed to be playing fighting games, but one is very skilled at it and she kind of sneaks out to do it. Next is Lucifer and Biscuit Hammer. I haven't read this. I'm trying to collect the series. Those are the only 2 volumes I have so far. And then right there is A Silent Voice. I've only watched the movie again because of a lot of the feels I get from it. I haven't read the manga. You can see it's still sealed. And as we go, you'll see that I have the hardcovers as well. Now, going down a notch, next series I have is High Squirrel Girl. I love this series. It takes place in the early to mid 90s. I'm about the same age as the protagonist, and it's kind of about that era of arcades and gaming machines. Absolutely love it. There's a Netflix series on it. That's where it inspired me to read this series. The volume 9 comes out probably in a week, and then volume 10, the final one, will come out at the end of the year. It's really been delayed, so I'm happy it's finally wrapping up. I can't recommend this series enough. The art can be a little different, but once you get it, it's great. Next is My Dress Up Darling. No real introduction. This is hugely popular now. I started reading this the start of the year, just before the anime came out. It's a great series. Love volume 5. Although right now I'm reading the scans and it's dipping a little bit, so we'll see how it goes. The next one is My Senpai is Annoying. This is a nice office romance about a little office worker and her senpai who looks after her. It's in color, which is kind of unique. I really like it. It can be almost 4 panel. It's a kind of a mishmash of it being almost like a panel strip and then an ongoing thing. But my favorite part of it isn't actually the main romance. It's a romance of two side characters, Sakura and I forget the other guy's name. I find it's a bit more interesting. Next is Yuzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out. This again, almost the same idea. It's a rom-com. Takes place in university about Yuzaki-chan who has a senpai who helped her out on the swim team in high school, and she kind of gets out. He's a bit of a loner, and she's always annoying him to kind of get him out to do stuff, but then she realizes she likes him and they both do. I like this series. One of the things that bugged me though is once the anime was not great. Well, it was okay. But the author really slowed down once the animes came out, so it's been kind of stalled for a while. I'm hoping that it'll pick back up. The Girl at the Arcade, I don't know, this is more of an H1. I don't know, it's alright. Then we have Yokihama Karishi Keru. I love this series. This just came out. I wasn't aware of it. I'm really happy that it's being published. I wouldn't have known about it otherwise. I'm really kind of bummed that the next volume won't come out till May of next year. Tokyo Revengers, just about a guy who is able to travel back in the past to try and right the wrongs that he did, or to try and save the life of his first girlfriend he had in middle school. It's a really popular series, and it's so popular that they're releasing it. They're releasing the physical volumes of it now. Next is When Will Ayumi Make His Move? This is also by the same creator, Teasing Master Takagi-san. I think I almost like this more. It's more of a high school setting about based around shogi. And our main character is Ayumi. He's really likes his senpai, but he won't confess that he loves her until he beats her at shogi, and he's pretty terrible at it. It's kind of a reversal of Teasing Master Takagi-san, where it's the guy who makes a girl annoyed and flustered. After the Rain, I just picked up as a part of a sale. Probably collect the rest of the series. Don't Toy With Me, Miss Negatoro. This is kind of the same vein as Teasing Master Takagi-san. I actually didn't love it the first volume that I read, but then after watching the anime, I really fell in love with it. It actually gets better as it goes. I find the last 2 volumes were probably some of the best. Right here I have Want to Eat Your Pancreas and Dirty Pair. Dirty Pair is more of a pick because I think I saw it when I was a younger, probably in middle school or high school, and always wanted to read it, so I picked it up. I still haven't read it. Blue Giant I haven't read yet, but it's highly probably will. Sarazan and Comic Girl. This is another, just a one shot. It's colored. I find this would make a perfect animated movie, especially in the 80s, because it just takes place about a guy who does maintenance on little planets, and he kind of gets swept up along with the comic girl who's wanted. And it's a romance. It's like a space opera. It's great. And coming up are probably 2 of my most favorite series. First one is Kimagura Orange Road. I love the anime of this. I've read the whole series of scans. I think I like the anime more than the manga. The art in the manga is kind of but it gets better as it goes, because one of the assistants is Hiraga of Bastard fame, and I find once he gets on, the art gets a bit better. But still, I find the anime is a bit better. It's a bit more tight with the stories. But one of the things I do enjoy about this series, it's a love triangle between. It's kind of a high school rom-com. There's people with but the main guy has psionic powers with his family, and it's a bit of a love triangle between 3 people. It's very good. One of the best series I would going to say of all time, not just myself, but a lot of places. It takes place in the 80s, which I kind of love that aesthetic of it. And I also like it that this series, the manga and the anime, have different endings, so it's kind of like getting the best of both things. Next one is Mysterious Girlfriend X. This is probably my top 5 mangas. It's a quirky, kind of romantic, kind of fantasy-like high school setting about a couple who, for whatever reason, they have a bond through drool. It sounds very strange, but I would just highly recommend it. It has the art in it's great. The story's a bit off kilter at the start, but I really like it that they can use their bond to describe how they feel about each other. And the stories are nice, and it's one of the very rare mangas I find for a teenage one where they're perpetually in the same year, like it rather than them going through the start of high school to the end. They're always kind of just stuck in the second year and a new year starts, and they're always there, which is really nice. It had a great ending. Anyway, I can't highly recommend it. Also, really great series is Flying Witch. I find that this is people who know this series absolutely love it. It's just about a teenage girl who goes to move with her family in the countryside to become a better witch, and it has a lot of Studio Ghibli like whimsy to it because she's learning how to be a witch. Her family is her kind of extended family is great. Her older sister is a famous witch who pops in and out of this series. Even her cousin, he's probably one of my favorite characters because he's got such deadpan humor, which isn't typical for a lot of manga. All right, we'll go down to the second last shelf. First we have Amazurgo Daio. I haven't read the series, as you can see where the bookmark is. I've only read a bit of it because I was getting confused. Not confused, but I felt that a lot of the characters look similar. It's by the same creator as Yotsuba, so it's really great. I probably need to get back to it. Next is Dragon Quest. Love the series. I've been playing Dragon Quest since Dragon Warrior 2 came out on the NES. It's my favorite RPG by far, so the book series has been quite good. Crazy Food Truck I have not read yet. That's only just come out this summer. Look Back just came out last week. I loved it. It was a great one-shot by the creator of Chainsaw Man. It was a quick read, but it was a good story. I'd recommend buying it. Ran in the Grey World. So this is a series I was recommended to at my local comic store to try to read. I bought the whole series. I ordered it in. I read the first one. It was okay, and I don't know if I'm going to read the rest. Was not too impressed with it. Way of the House Husband again. I only have up to volume 6. This is a good series, but I kind of stopped reading it. It was alright. Stripped to the Flesh I have not read yet. Blue Flag. This is a nice coming of age series. It's a bit of a love triangle between 3 people. The ending, though, I thought was really great. Probably around volume 6 or 7. It gets a little muddled in the details, but it's a good series. I don't know if I'd recommend owning it. I probably would sell this, but if you have it, if you're able to read it digitally, legally, I would recommend it. It's a good series. Next one, Sweetness and Lightning. Love this series. It's just about a father and daughter a young daughter who's about 4 or 5. They lose their wife, and it takes place 6 months after that. And the dad's trying to be a better cook, and it turns out one of the students at his school, he's a math teacher. She runs a family restaurant. Her parents are divorced, and her mom is a bit of a celebrity chef, so the restaurant's kind of closed. So it's her kind of teaching the dad how to cook with the daughter in tow, and it's a great series. Deals with has a lot of nice moments to it. Also deals very realistic moments too. Deals with a bit of loss and loneliness and people coming together. And I thought this was it was a great series. Really enjoy it. Next one's Penguin and House. This is just a cute comedy. It's only those 3 volumes. It's just about a guy in university. He has a pet penguin, and the penguin, who's a silent character in it, acts more almost like a motherly figure and dotes on him. There's funny little comedy, there's always these funny comedic situations in it. It's great for the whole family. I think half my family has already read this. Crazy Stupid Love Comedy, I have not read. I think I just have it there more as a placeholder. I should read it. And next shelf is kind of an odds and ends shelf. You see, most of these series aren't complete. I have Honey and Clover. I really, really liked March Comes in Like a Lion, so I decided to get this series, but I'm still missing 8 and 9 to finish it up. Go 13, absolutely loved the anime of this, so I decided to collect the series. This is a bunch of single stories because, my god, I think the series went on for almost 50 years. I really like Go. I can kind of see where Cowboy Bebop gets its storylines from it in like a lot of it, but Go is a lot like that as a hitman, but it's a bit darker. Next we have Burn the Witch. by Kubo's fame. Sorry about that. It's a pretty good series. It was a good one shot. I kind of wish they'd expanded it. Next is Sleeping Princess in the Demon Castle. I watched the anime of this, liked it, and I kind of had the series, but I've kind of stalled on reading it. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. Attack on Titan, I just have the final volume because I wanted to see what had happened. I've been only really watching the anime of it and really just wanted to finish it. Hakura no Go, I bought this series. Someone was selling it, the first part of it, for really cheap, so I picked it up. You'll even see there's 2 library copies. And similarly, I've got Oran High School Host Club. I haven't read it. I only have a few volumes, probably about a little over half, so I'm kind of waiting, to get the rest of it. I'll slowly collect that. And then down below on the lowest shelf, first things first, we have Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. Second favorite manga of all time. I also have the singles of this. Great series. I won't get into too many details. It's just it's done by Miyazaki, who basically wrote it so he could make an animated movie for it. The anime is great, but it was my favorite Ghibli one until I read the manga, and then it kind of like Akira. The animated movie has maybe a third to half of the whole series in it, whereas the manga just tells such a better story, such a great story. Absolutely love it. Again, we have a Silent Voice 2 hardcovers. I haven't read it. I've only watched the anime because I'll have to work my way up for it. Ping Pong, again, that's another series I haven't read. Actually, this whole bottom shelf, I have not read any of it. Same with Goodnight Poon Poon. I know it's going to be really sad, so I still have not brought myself up to it. And here I've got the Junji Ito series. I'm actually saving to read this for Halloween this year, for October. So if you're on my Goodreads list, you'll probably see me go through a lot of these. I'm not a huge horror guy, but I always hear good things, so we'll see how it goes. I can't see it not being great. And over here is kind of a bit of an odds and ends again. First things first, I have I have Star Blazers 2199, which is really, let's put it this way, Battleship Yamato. This is a Dark Horse series. It's based off the original Star Blazers, but they remade the anime series for it a few years ago, which I loved. So Dark Horse, there's actually 4 volumes. 3 and 4 I pre-ordered probably 2 years ago, and they've been put on hiatus. I don't know when they'll come out. They keep getting delayed. Even volume 2 was delayed for about 2 years from originally ordering it. Next I have Rascal. Oh, here we go. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. I have both the novel and the manga. One of my favorite anime series. I would actually say it's what got me back into anime. And then the rest, except for Shio Can't Say Her Name, are all pretty much Tezuka books. I love Blackjack. It's my favorite manga. Some of these I've read. I borrowed a lot from the library. These have just come out. I haven't really ordered them. There's Twin Knight, Bomba, Princess Knight, which is in 2 volumes. Like that's in 1 now. Apollo Song I have read. But I haven't read Apollo Song probably 10 years ago. Crime and Punishment, The Glass Castle, Under the Air. We have what? What was the... I'm just reading this. Anyway, Captain Can, Melody of Iron, and Crater. Ooh, I also have 5 centimeters per second. And the last thing I'm going to do is kind of a sad that I'm ending it off, is that think of this as a reminder of things, not to go ahead and jump the gun. I loved reading Bunny Drop. I watched the anime and I instantly bought the mangas, only to learn from everybody that, yeah, the series ends pretty terribly. And the other thing that really bothered me too is if you look, I'm missing volume 9. I ordered 5 to 10 together only for, the people not to send 9. And it's the one that right now is currently out of stock and hard to find. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't think I'm going to complete the series. I'll probably sell it, or try and sell it anyway. So yeah, that is kind of this manga collection. Let's kind of give a bit of an outtake. I'll probably do 1 or 2 more of these. I have more things on another shelf. Probably 2 more shelves. But this is kind of the one that's in my office, and I just decided to do it today. I hope everybody liked it. Thanks.